Hey, good evening. Dan Fitzpatrick here at StockMarketMentor.com, and guess what? We're going to go back to Netflix. It is June 24th, which, by the way, is my younger brother's 50th birthday. And no, that's not Gary, that's Mike. And happy birthday, Mike. I wish you the best. And since Mike is not a trader and he doesn't subscribe to our videos, he doesn't know that I'm saying this. So, and that's just fine. I don't want him to think I like him that much anyway. So, anyway, I don't even know why I said that. So, Netflix, they announced a 7-for-1 stock split that's going to go off on July 15th. And then after market last night, and I featured this in my chart of the day yesterday. So we will look at this pre-post market data only on okay, so I don't know why it's not showing it here. I thought that it would. Anyway, it doesn't really matter. The point is that the stock gapped up. It was trading up after hours, not quite this much, but it did gap up after hours on news that the company was going to be splitting its stock. Why it does this, I don't know. People made, and I mentioned this last night in the chart of the day, people made a gang of money back in the 90s and the first like 2 months, maybe possibly 3 months of 2000. And then everybody that was such a genius in the market turned into an imbecile who was wandering around the streets homeless with no money when the market crashed. But everybody would just buy stock splits. It's like, oh, Dell's splitting its stock. Got to buy call options. That's just the way it worked. Then for a while, over the last umpteen years, sanity's kind of returned a little bit, and then nobody really cared too much about stock splits. Well, now you're getting a stock like Netflix, and you remember what happened with Apple when they decided to split their stock. Everybody got a little juiced up over that too, but then ultimately the stock's trading like a corpse. So with Netflix, the stock jumps up, trades off, jumps up again. Then Carl the Tweet enters the picture. He's dumped his entire share of Netflix. Sadly, he's not like Kramer, where Kramer tells you what he's going to do before he does it. Carl the Tweet does it, then he tells you what he's going to do. And knowing that guy, he's probably went, oh my gosh, ooh, I sold too much. So I was actually short the stock. Now everybody's sold it off, maybe I'll cover. I don't really know whether he did that or not, but you know, any big hedge fund manager who trades around the public by tweets is not somebody that I would be too trustworthy of. So instead, he's putting his energy into pumping up the shares of Apple. That's for another day, and Apple's Apple, though my brother Gary continues to not like his Apple Watch very much. My point here on Netflix is this. They report a split. The stock gaps up and then trades lower. In other words, buy the rumor or buy the news really, really fast and then sell the news when everybody kind of knows it. So the stock split came and went with respect to its influence on the aggressiveness of buyers and sellers of the stock. Then when Carl comes out and says he's sold his stake, and that guy made a boatload of money on Netflix. He's been holding it a long time. He sold his stake, and that was kind of, if he'd sold the last of it into here, he pretty much top ticked it. The stock has been selling off. I want to be short. Well, it's a good thing I want to be short because I am short. I didn't even tweet that out. But let me show you the trade and show you that there's still plenty of room for you to be short. This is massive distribution. This is not just Jake and Billy Bob's hunting and trading booth. I mean, this is really institutional selling. Over 10 million shares traded. First big red volume spike right off the top. 52-week high, all-time high, mega high. Everybody's getting high here except the bears. So the stock's rolling over as I do this video, and it is 12:33 on the left coast, 3:33 on the on the East Coast, there were multiple jokes that I was weighing as far as whether I was going to say something or not, and I've decided that I would just say East Coast because I did have an opportunity to get the trifecta and actually offend even 3 groups with one word, so I chose not to. Anyway, so now you've got a really, really bearish pattern, and I'm not talking about specific candlestick patterns. I mean, if you're looking for one of those, you know, call it a flying hibachi with a 3-tailed snipe. The stock gaps up. It's trading down. It's at the low of the day. Who knows if it's going to close at the low of the day? But I'll tell you this, it darn sure ain't closing at the high of the day. There's no reason for anybody to be buying the stock now unless they are covering their shorts. This stock has been trading up in anticipation of a lot of things. Now it's trading down on news, after news, that they're splitting their stock, and so there's a lot of folks, the retail guys, will be going like, well, crap, you know, I thought I was going to buy this stock. In fact, didn't Dan even say last night that for one goofy reason people buy the stock into a stock split? After the stock splits, then you got like 7 times the liquidity. There's going to be plenty of shares to buy. Probably going to see a pullback, but between now and the split, we could see higher prices. Okay, that still could be the case, but I know that this is difficult for you to understand. I don't have Carl Ichan's cell phone, and he has mine. He rarely calls me for information or guidance. Sometimes he does, him or Warren, but typically not. And so I didn't know that he was going to announce that he's out of the stock. So now suddenly you're not just getting retail guys, but you're also going to get some money managers who, you know, there are a lot of folks that are momentum oriented, and this has been one momentum oriented stock. They're going to look at this and say, well, shoot, man, the stock's up at its high. If Carl's out, who am I to fade Carl's move? I think I'll clear out of here and go into Apple. Bam, right here. Don't you know that probably happened? Let's look at this intraday. Well, right off the bat. Okay, pretty much in sync, it seems like. So the bottom line is you need to get out of Netflix. Frankly, you could get short Netflix. Options aren't that liquid, but I and our esteemed colleagues over at Option Market Mentor got short a bear call spread that's well out of the money. It is the 730, 735s. Shorted the 730 calls here, went long the 35 calls as insurance, and it's going to take a lot of juice for this stock to get through all this pain and then go up another 5% or so to get up to threaten the 730 strike. So I think that's a good trade, and also I'm long some puts on it as well, just because every so often I just kind of feel like going both ways. That's just the way I am. So anyway, I think you can get short on Netflix. The overall trend is still going up, but when I see this kind of volume, this kind of reminds me of Amberella on that one fateful day last Thursday. Okay, that's it for this video. Members, get over to the strategy session.